Okay, we're back at Gateway and we're going to do some more underbiking today. We'll talk more about that in a bit. But today we start with the State 4130 all-road V2. We got another one in the mix. I'm going to hold off on telling you what that one is. Technically, it's underbiking as well, but not so much as this. Now, the one big change literally to my State all-road, I had been rolling stock tires, 38 millimeters, and everyone's been asking how big a tire can we fit on this thing. Well, this is a 50. Obviously, every 50 is different. These are the Vittoria Terrenos. And when we fit them at Dusty Roads at the shop, there just was barely any clearance here. But now, so that's a 50. I'm still going to roll it. 50s are stuffing it, but maybe with a slightly different 50. I don't know what pressure it's running at. So I'm going to set the pressure a little lower. Maybe that'll put some slack into it. So yeah, you can hear it still hitting the fork crown. Took the pressure down a little bit. It was up just shy of 40, at least on that gauge. Took it down to about 35. I can probably take it lower, but this thing out on single track, so I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be like. So I may do a few minutes. We're going to go ahead and start our ride since we're pedaling. I'm going to do a few minutes, maybe a mile or so with it at this pressure, see what it feels like. And I can always take some out on the trail. It's more of a pain in the ass to put it in on the trail. And just see if buzzing around the parking likes it. All right, let's go do this. Let's see what the State all-road 4130 with 50 millimeter tires is like on single track. I have ridden this bike on single track a decent little bit. River Legacy Park, Denton Mountain Bike Trail, some limited little trails over by Trophy Club. You can hear me coming. So yeah, I definitely don't recommend 50s in the stock configuration, but I'm gonna see how they ride. Kind of committed to this tire now. We'll try lower pressure in a bit, see if that gives us a little more slack, because it's not trimming the knobs right away, is it? We're going to start out really casual and easy here. So we did this, we underbiked this on the Salsa Tributary the other day, which wasn't tremendously underbiking except for a low bottom bracket that you did get some pedal strikes, even on a tamer trail. Definitely a technical trail with rocks and things like that. Pedal striking will be an issue on that. We also underbiked it on the Brompton G line, which was actually really fun here, but definitely pedal strike issues with that. And like I said, we'll spin it a little bit and maybe take a little bit more air out. So far, it feels pretty good. I already know one issue we're going to have with this bike on single track, because we had it with, so the stock tires were 38s. I would not even call them all-terrain. I would not even call them gravel tires. They had a slick center and just a little bit of siping on the edge. I would call them an all-weather road tire type of thing. And I liked them fine, and they were 38s. They rode fine, and they were fine on gravel. And a little bit of single track, they were okay. It was fun. What I did run into with the 38s on tight twisty sections of single track, I would get toe overlap, which isn't surprising on a gravel bike. You have less rake you're dealing with and things like that, and the smaller the frame, the more of an overlap issue you're likely to have. But it was tolerable, and it wasn't a toe overlap that brought you to a screeching halt sort of thing. A little bit of scrub in tight turns, and not enough to throw you off your line or anything like that, because those tighter turns you're already going pretty slow as it is. So I expect with the bigger tires the toe overlap will be more pronounced. But that said, I haven't run into any yet. I do ride with my toes a little forward on the pedal. I'm riding flats, but I do center arch position opposed to riding on the front ball of the foot. But obviously with the foot a slight bit more forward, it will make toe overlap more of an issue. That's annoying as hell. There's no doubt about it. I'm gonna take some more air out. I know I'm gonna do that. We'll see if we scrub it, maybe. But I definitely feel like I could use more flux in the tire on single track. So a little bit, maybe getting closer to 30 pounds on the front wouldn't be a bad thing. I'm sure the other bike we're on today won't be having tire clearance issues. Certain of that. But it'll be underbiking in a slightly different way. And it's very arguable if it's even underbiking to begin with. I could be proven wrong, but I don't remember ever having pedal strike issues on single track on this bike. I'm sure we'll find out if that is or is not the case on this ride. Before I go back on, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can take a couple of pounds out. See if this makes any difference. Let's see, is there any flex in this tire at 30? A little bit of flex in the sidewall. It's probably too much. Definitely noticeably more flex. I do have an inflator with me if we do need to throw a couple pounds more back in. Dare I go to 25 pounds? Actually, wherever it is, that was not a pedal strike. That was me getting too close to a tree with a big pedal. That does protrude more than you would typically ride on trail like this. This feels really good. All right, I'm keeping my eye out. When we underbiked this the other day, my first time out here in numerous years. I'm going to say at least 10 years, possibly even longer. And I know the trails changed, and I know I don't remember what hasn't changed, but I think there's a high likelihood I missed some trail. So we're going to be more cognizant of where there might be more trail. Oh, look at this. All right, let's see what it's like on this bike. We didn't ride this part on the other bikes. It's just a short line with a bit more up and down to it. The bypass just was this line to the right. That's what I rode the other day. It's just flat. So that's not a mileage difference, more than a few feet. But I may have missed other turnoffs, so we're gonna be a little more cognizant of that. Make sure we do hit everything today. I think I ended up with 3.5 miles according to GPS the other day. Where it gets confusing is like, it looks like there's trail over there, but I'm pretty sure that's just disc golf trail. Same on the left. I'm not seeing any signage that indicates we deviate from this for riding. We're still scrubbing on the front, obviously, but it does sound like it's getting a tad fainter. So here's the one. I think I rode the middle and the right. I don't think I've done this lower line. I'm not sure what this is about. Oh, it's about needing more brake. This was pretty steep. I definitely bypassed this on the Brompton. Just a steep little pitch. And if you hit it at the right momentum, brakes were a little slow going down that initial descent. And that has been my biggest, it's not a complaint, but I would like better brakes. These have gotten better over time. It took them a really long time to dead in for some reason, but they definitely do not seem extreme downhill appropriate. All right, I'm gonna go down for this one and see how we do. Here's another downhill, but we got more to play with, so we don't need the brakes. Yeah. So a 50 in the back is no problem, and that will help with climbing traction on single track. Obviously, you're seeing the problem with the 50 on the front. I would probably, if you've got the stock fork, I would probably lean towards what state says the max tire size is, which is 47. And obviously every 47 is different as well. And I would have gone with the 47s, to be honest with you, but there weren't any at the shop. They had 45s and they had 50s. And the dry fit made the 50 look like it was going to fit. I have a potential other solution I'm hoping to be able to try out, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. If you haven't seen my other reviews on this state all-road, it is the V2 that just came out. I like this bike. It's a $1,000 bike, and it goes on sale on a pretty regular basis. I like this bike a lot. I changed the saddle out. Saddle is definitely a personal preference, but the stock one does not treat my undercarriage well at all. But I prefer the stiff leather saddles to begin with. So I changed to a leather saddle, which is definitely my style. Changed pedals, but everything else is stock on it. It's a perfectly capable, realistically do anything bike. If you're thinking you might mix some single track in the mix or some aggressive gravel, yeah, you'll want to upgrade the tires. Tubeless, that was an upgrade to tubeless, which I recommend to every bike. Whoa, there's the brakes not doing anything. Yeah, these are not mountain biking brakes. That simple. So if you're going to take this on single track that's anything but flat, I would highly recommend some sort of brake upgrade. You got a great cable actuated brake recommendation for this bike, or a little bit more technical riding, please do comment. I'm all ears. I don't think I'm going to do the upgrade myself. I have no intentions of making this a mountain bike, but when I'm rambling around, just the flexibility to be able to take it anywhere is nice. I'm absolutely shocked I haven't had any toe overlap, but this trail isn't as twisty as River Legacy. The engagement on this thing is great. Again, this is fantastic, but I can definitely feel a difference in the sure-footedness, there's no doubt. I think 47s would be awesome. I love riding bikes. This is fun shit. See, my problem with these 50s, if I'm riding by myself, it's tolerable. I can put up with it. But if I'm riding with a group, all right, we'll grab the other bike and give that in a bit here. We're almost done. Hi there. All clear. And we're done. That was a full lap of Gateway West, which is probably right about 4 miles. All right. So let's see what our next underbike project for the day is. I know y'all are gonna say that's not underbiking, and technically you're right. There is one slight variation. So, Revel L'Hefe Titanium. Tie is so fly. And yes, it's a mountain bike, but it does have a rigid fork. All right, here's the L'Hefe. So here's the underbiking aspect of it. It does have a rigid fork. This was supposed to be my bike packing rig, and it's gonna be my big motivation to really get back on the bike. And unfortunately, what came of it, after I got it, I found out my knees were just still too messed. I couldn't ride it. So that's when I had to get the tributary and get the e-bike to just start building back up to where I could ride a bike. Love this bike. All right, I've done very little actual mountain bike riding on this bike, and we've done a few little updates to it. I added the red shift suspension seat post because I'm getting old, and we shortened the handlebars and added some different bar ends. When I hopped on the bike the other day trying it out, it seemed like it was a little short, but I noticed the saddle was way too far forward. I slid it back and it feels about right now. I haven't ridden this one in a while. While I was changing bikes, I got an email, good news. What I was talking about as possibly a plan B for the state, or something to try out anyways, it's gonna work out. I heard from my buddies at State Bicycle Company, and it's not a freebie, but they're gonna make it easier for me to try out what they call their monster fork for this bike. So yeah, That will allow us to do a couple things. Obviously give more clearance for that 50. So thanks, State. Appreciate it. All right. Let's go see how a mountain bike rides this trail. This bike feels great. Oh yeah, see? That camera mount's slipping already. Nope, that's not gonna work. This bike feels great. Again, this is the Revel L'Hefe. I don't even know if they make this model anymore. Oh man. 2.6 tires. I'm running these at 22. And if you watched my Salsa Tributary video with the new tires on it, heads up, Brad reminded me of something when we were recording Shiftless yesterday. So we're actually going to be changing up a couple things on the Tributary. It's amazing how well a mountain bike feels on a mountain bike trail. Man, I love riding bikes. First mountain bike trail I'd ridden it on. So we'll try out this post on Semi-Track again. See if we can pin now. We're gonna put the camera away. All right, let's talk about the L'Hefe. And hey, that was fun. That was a friggin' blast. I miss mountain biking. So we're gonna get back into it. So first off, let's talk about the Red Shift suspension seat post. It's definitely not the same as dual suspension by any stretch of the imagination. This rides like a hardtail, which is fantastic. A hardtail 29er is perfectly fine for every trail in North. If you think you get a dual suspension mountain bike before you can really start riding mountain bike trails, that's just not the case. My old man back, this did seem to do the trick. My back most certainly appreciates it. These are new ergon grips and Cane Creek bar ends. Bar ends are more for my endurance and gravel riding and bike packing stuff. I'm a fan of multiple hand positions, and these work out really well. Ergon GA3 Maxxis Recon 2.6. It's a great tire. I think I was running 22 pounds. I'll try them 20 next time. Might even be able to get them down sub 20 and they'll be okay. I wasn't losing any traction in the back. It's a whiskey fork. Maybe a couple more pounds make this just a little less chattery, but it was pretty good. I dig this bike. It was supposed to be my forever bike, my last bike. We know how that goes. But yeah, everything I'm doing is so I can take this thing out forever and ever. Amen is the plan, and play with this as much as possible. And I'm looking forward to getting back on the mountain bike trails. That's the most fun I've had on a bicycle in a while. Knee feels pretty good. The back feels pretty good. Love this bike.